Greetings. It is I, Albayon. I come to you at this time to share the message to go further into what Shelly was just saying here. I don't even know really where to begin because there has been so much transformation taking place both on the earth and in the universe. I'm going to begin by talking about the universe for just a moment. We spoke, maybe it was in August or something like that, and I told you that a lot of the ships that had been around the planet had been kind of shifting and going someplace else because they were no longer needed. So let me go into a little bit more detail. What were they actually doing? Some of those ships were the ones going in and out of your planet. And as they went inside the planet, they were working to help clear out some of the dumps. They were working to bring in communications. They were working to activate things that had been inside your planet that had been dormant. We're talking hundreds of thousands of years. And as they were, as that was transitioning and shifting, then what was needed to happen was people were making adjustments out in the universe. You've heard the word arcs. There have been many arcs that were placed inside the earth that were utilized at a different time space reality, and some of those are waking up. Some of those are holding on to the technology of what's going on. Some of them will be utilized in the future to generate new technology. So when we say that this transition has taken place out in the universe, that is absolutely one of the ways in which that's happened. Another thing that has been going on is that humanity truly has gone over, well, I mean, you've been over the hump for 2 years now or 3 years, but humanity is now stepping up to the plate and doing a great deal more for themselves than than some of which was what we would do from the universe. And what I mean by that is exactly what Shelly was talking about. And this is just 2 instances in the United States. There are other things going on in other countries. And I mean, she just may not be aware of it, but I see how around the world there are different instances that are going on in different places. But one of the things that came up to Shelly, like she might have just tapped into a little here because she doesn't want to go into any fear or put that out there, but just how much of the nefarious ones are still remaining and just how much control do they have. And another thing that I wanted to share about was like just a little bit more about Hurricane Helene. I mean, I know that you guys have heard about it a lot, and I know you've heard many different things, but one of the concerns that Shelly had was if indeed this whole takedown of Chimney Lake, as they were talking about it, and the land underneath it, and taking an eminent domain for the government, well, here's 2 things that are going as a result of that. Yes, that is absolutely a plan. Yes, it was set up that that the mining company was going forward with that. And yes, those different things that you've heard, all of that has truth to it. But here's the thing. That plan cannot be fully realized as it is because people at the top of BlackRock are being taken out. People in Congress that were going to be the ones that would benefit from this are being taken out. The vast majority of your Congress and Senate and those types of political leaders have already been taken out because of their traitorous activities. So those that have replaced them, some of those are the ones that are stepping up thinking, okay, I'm going to go into that and get all the millions and millions of dollars that they were getting. And so they're thinking that they can just step back into what was created before. And some of this is just being duly noted, and then they will also be removed. So when I look at this situation, when I look at are these people that were removed from there, are they ever going to get their land back? The answer that I get to that is yes, they will get their land back. It feels like in part, this is something that has to play out because it's going to be a great awakening for a lot of people. And then you hear something like, half the country has never even heard of what's going on. So that in and of itself is kind of stunning, but it will come out. People will talk about this. And this feels as if it's playing out a scenario. And during this scenario, they are rounding up the nefarious ones just hand over foot as they are trying to implement these changes, like stealing the land and stealing the mining rights, etc. So at this now moment, it may look like that's exactly what is happening. But when you look 1 month down the road, several weeks down the road, you see that tide turning. So I don't believe at the end of the day, all of these people that seemingly right now are displaced will end up displaced. I don't believe there. I mean, there has been horrific problems. There's no doubt about it. There have been roadways washed away. There have been people stranded. No doubt about it. However, there will be rebuilding to a lot of that. And then a lot of these people will get back into where they're going. One of the reasons why you don't see it as much is there's no road to get back in there. But my sense of it is that this is a very critical part of the movie, which I hate calling it a movie, but if you think about it that way, this is a very critical part of showing humanity just how nefarious they have been and just what they would do to try to, I mean, they've done this in this country multiple other times. They did it out with Hoover Dam. They did it up north in Boston. They did it out west. They have done this multiple times, taking people's land. And my sense of it is that there will be a certain number that say, yeah, they always do that. But now is the time that people are going to stand up and say, no, I'm saying no. So I don't think at the end of the day, that is going to be what's happening. Okay. Sorry. It was like I had that block of information. I ran through all that information and then I was kind of here at a dead stop. So speaking again about those that were out in the universe. Oh, that's what I wanted to elaborate on. So Shelly had mentioned that we tapped into it a little bit. I don't remember if it was me or no, it was Brysentia talking about what had happened, but I work with these ships. I work with the ships that go in and out. And there are a few of the mountains there. We've said it before. This is one of the most ancient mountain ranges on the entire planet. So there are deep, deep, deep caverns within them. There is a deep energy that's associated with Gaia and is associated with all the many experiences that the earth plane has had through the many hundreds of thousands or millions of years. And that this is a very sacred place. There are multiple places around the world that are similar, but this has that which is related to this part of the planet. And so that was being stolen, that was being utilized by nefarious ones. And what this has done by pulling out so much and then eliminating what's been going on there, we're able to clear it out. And so there has been a deep clear out that has also taken place, of which most of humanity has no idea. Okay. What next did I want to say? So in the shifting, there are more and more universal beings that are now coming in and surrounding your planet. One of the massive motherships has left, and there is a new one that is coming in. There still remains 3 large motherships that are in strategic positions around the planet. And this new one that's coming in is going to be the base that is set up for what is it like to live in the new energy, whereas the other ones have been focused on supporting those of us with clearing out the negativity and clearing out what no longer serves. So this is a part of the transition that's taking place. That other ship needed to get out and be far enough away that this one could then come in. And it has shown up in the energy spaces only within about the last 2 weeks Earth time. We don't have the same time space reality that you do. So this is something that has only been the last couple of weeks your time. Now, speaking of those solar flares, that was an excellent, excellent way in which to show it. We've talked about solar flares. they talked about the type of solar flare that it is and the magnitude of it. And you have had those throughout this past year. They've been coming in for probably as much as 2 years ago, was when they started this high magnitude of them. But what they're doing now, and what this video kind of showed to people, it's almost like you see, here's a flare, here's a flare, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. And of course, the timing on that is sped up. It's not quite as fast as that, but each one of those that is released is going to come into the earth plane, and it is all a part of removing the last of the old paradigm so that the new paradigm, the new energy, the new focus can now be present and working upon the earth. This is why when I say that the nefarious ones are gone from the universe, they are all but maybe 0.25% or something like that. The one that was there was like a radical one that was trying to take over and trying to build up an empire for himself, and it just didn't work. And the same is true for those that are upon the earth. I wish to reiterate once again that even though there's so much fear and anxiety that is being provoked right now, most of what you're seeing is already done, and that which is current is being these things that are being put out there are being put out, number one, by the nefarious ones, but number two, by those people that just don't understand the big picture. They just don't understand all the different ramifications that are actually taking place. And if they don't see us, if they don't understand us, if they don't know us, then obviously they don't talk about us. And so I did want to share with you the importance of understanding that, yes, we are still at the end game of the old energy. Yes, the light has succeeded, and there you just cannot say we succeeded and then turn around and say, oh, sorry, we lied. No, the light is here. The high vibrational energy is here. That is just not able to change or be different. So all of these things that are happening in your everyday life are just there to wake up those that are not yet awakened, and also to reiterate to people, really pay attention to your intuition, really pay attention to what is truth and what is not truth. Okay, so let me see. I'll let Brysentia talk about Hurricane Milton. I talked about it a little bit already, but I'll let her go into greater detail. I feel as if there's one other thing I wanted to speak about. I know frequently I will talk about the politics, and so I'll take a moment to do so. Um, there is so much that's, do you vote? Do you not vote? Is the election going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Is the disclosure going to come out before that? Is it going to come out after that? There are so many different things that could go either way. And when I look into it, what I see as the strongest potential is that we just go kind of almost right up to the election and boom, it doesn't happen. I don't know exactly what it is, because I'm just looking at the energies and I'm looking at it, and it's like there's this stopping point, like you hit a wall and then it just goes blank. So I'm not able to see the specifics of what's going to happen. I know one of the things that Shelly had mentioned was for all the early voting, get out and vote. I agree. Why not? What's it going to hurt? It's not going to hurt a thing. It's just going to be more energy and more push behind expressing your, I mean, probably most everyone on here, they're going to vote the same way that we've been talking about and supporting all these years. However, whatever it is that you want to vote, just express yourself and express your belief system, and the truth and the energy behind that is always going to be very prevalent. So especially as we get up close to the end of it, there will be a lot of what is that called? Doppelganger? No. There will be a lot of people lying. There will be a lot of people presenting as truth something that is completely false. And all of that is going to be what plays into the reality of them saying finally, here, this is the truth of what's going on. This is what's been going on for so very long. And that's really the way that I see it in this now moment. But as I said, when we were talking about the energy storms, so much happens here. It makes this reaction. There's so much flexibility and flux and flow that is going on right now. So this may be the strongest potential in this now moment. And it may be something totally different a few days from now, a week from now. There are still going to be very powerful um, um, astrological alignments this month that are going to have an impact on all of this. And in addition to that, in particular, these solar flares that are coming in. Okay, so thank you for listening to me this whole time. And let's go into the questions and we will move on. I've learned from a channel that inside the covered thing in Kaaba in Mecca, there is a meteorite. What happens to all the energy that so many people give away to this thing and prayer and worship? Okay, so Mecca, and it's the people that pray to Mecca, and they do it multiple times a day, is my understanding. And so what they're saying, is there a meteorite, or what is inside of that they're praying? I just have never looked at that through this person's head before. So give me a second and let's look and see what we see. It does feel as if it's not an entire meteorite, but there is a portion of a meteorite that is in there. It also feels like there are some crystals, and it feels like it is a very powerful energy. I also see that over time, I mean, when it was first created thousands of years ago, it was a very powerful and sacred space. However, over time, I see that people took pieces of it and took pieces of it and took pieces of it. So what it is right now is not as powerful or as much of what it used to be. So then the other half of that question was, with everyone praying to it, what is that impact? Let me look at that. So what that's doing is it creates a collective consciousness associated with these individuals. It's a collective consciousness associated with praying multiple times during the day, with focusing on this place. And just as you have the collective consciousness of the entire earth, when you have people that are in a particular, be it a religious group, be it just a group of friends, be it a family, there is a collective consciousness of all the people involved that are feeding into a particular vibration of consciousness. And so, yes, there is a collective consciousness associated with these individuals. And as I look at it now, much of it has been skewed over time. But because there is, just as with so many of you guys, there have been false teachings that have been infused. There have been a lot of things that have transitioned in such a way that it is no longer of the high vibrational frequency that it was at the very beginning. And it does feel like it's something that will transition as a lot of this information comes out, and they will be able to once again tap back into that, and it'll be the original. Okay. Did some of the generals take money from the nefarious ones and work against the white hats? If so, have they been taken out? 100%. 100%. Some of them were drugged and what do you call it? Videos and pictures were taken, and that was used as blackmail against them. Those were the ones that were taken out a while ago. And then the ones that came up that replaced them, some of them did get compromised, whether it was through themselves or threats to their family. So some of them did get compromised, and they did end up taking money. But as we look at it right now, it feels pretty clear. It feels like they've gotten most, if not all, of the nefarious ones. They have identified them. The vast majority have been taken out. And so those that might still be hanging out there are under observation, and they know who they are. So they're watching them and taking stock of everything that's going on. Okay. The ionized water filters haven't been available for about 3 years. Will they be on the market again soon? The ionized water filters. It feels like what you've had as ionized filters in the past were very good and they worked in the way they were intended. But it feels like as the energy is changing, the water's going to be changing. There are already multiple places that have already started filtering the water and taking out the fluoride and taking out some of the other things that have been put in the water. So that when it comes to filters or different ways in which people will purify their water, it will be something different. You're going to begin to find people using crystals, like just put a crystal in the water. You're going to find people can use lights like, what is that called? Not LED lights, but ultraviolet light and different things that will also purify water. And that'll do it like by the pitcher or by the glass. So when we're talking about like filters that maybe did your whole house and stuff like that, we don't see an alternative to that just yet, but it could be that something is going to come about fairly soon that will replace what has been in the past.